Hi everyone, I'm Zach Reinhardt here with a EP wrap-up video. This is an irregular series that I do every few months whenever I have like 3 or 4 EPs that I think are worth checking out. I don't really want to do a full review of just like 5 or 4 tracks on an album. So I just kind of wrap it all up and into a little bow for you here. Some recommendations. Now I had like 2 EPs that came out in February that I was enjoying, and I was thinking like, oh, cool! I'll have another EP wrap up video really soon. I just need like 1 or 2 more EPs to come out that I can talk about. But nothing really caught my ear for like months, and then finally, we got this new Treecko EP, the Kabuki EP. Treecko is a 3 piece all girl math rock band. They've been around for a little while. They put out a few albums, and they kind of do typical post punk math rock stuff, but with a very kind of accessible, kind of sugary pop candy coating. All their songs are very catchy and just easy to listen to, despite the kind of sometimes complex rhythms that they employ. They make it sure it's all very easy to digest. And they get a lot of hype, both overseas and in Japan, and I've just never really been all that big of a fan. They certainly have a lot of good songs. They definitely can write a good song that I can really enjoy, but they're not consistent with it. Like whenever I listen to a Treecko album, it's like there's 2 just really good songs, and then everything else is just kind of okay. And I picked up this new Treecko EP because the single that came out with it, Setsuyakuka, is great. I love it. It's, I think, the best song I've heard Treecko do. It's not really anything new for Treecko, and it's not especially rhythmically complex or anything, but it's just a solid song. It's got a really catchy chorus. I like the instrumental. There's a lot of energy. The song is really kind of fast paced right from the start. And then in the bridge, it kind of slows down, and the vocals almost take this kind of R&B esque sound, and the guitar and drums kind of play off of each other in some kind of interesting, fun rhythms. It's just a really solid song. Like I said, I think it's the best Treecko song I've heard. But once again, you get one good Treecko song, and the rest are just kind of okay. The only other track on here that really stood out to me at all was the song Plastic, which is a pretty generic kind of post punk math rock song. Treecko has explored this sound at length at this point, but it's just done well. It's just pretty solid. There's not too much to complain about it aside from lack of originality. But yeah, I like this thing, but it's just like Treecko always like delivers on the single and then is just kind of mediocre on all the B-sides. Um, but yeah, there's certainly people who like this a lot more than me, and maybe it's just I'm jaded because I've listened to a lot of math rock in my time. But yeah, it's okay. And then we've got the new Oh Summer Vacation EP, 7 Minutes Order. Ian Martin over at Call and Response Records was hyping this thing up because he got to listen to it before it came out. So I had my eye on it, and it's pretty good. It's like 4 tracks. They're all pretty short. The EP is only like 6 minutes to listen to, but they're just they just kind of pummel you with energy. They're really fast. They're really aggressive. It's like loud, fast moving guitar riffs and really tight drums. I like the drums on here a lot. And just kind of shouted female vocals. The songs are all solid. I don't really have too much to complain about. I think the closer to it is like the softest song, and that one doesn't go quite as well as all the others. It's also the longest song, so that one's a little disappointing, but it's still decent. It's still a good song, but the rest are all just so fast, and they have like these just riff changes, and then the song's over in like an instant. It's like one of the tracks is 30 seconds, and then the rest are like 1.5, and then the closer's like 2.5. Um, yeah, definitely check it out. It's worth a listen. It's just kind of fast, aggressive. I guess you could say post punk. I don't know. Post punk is branched out so widely at this point, especially in Japan. Like you get like Treecko is has a post punk sound, but then you've got also like Hakuchi, which is considered post punk, but then they sound completely different. I don't know. But whatever the fuck it is, it's good. And then finally, we've got imitation with overtime fucking work of 1 minute. These guys are pissed off about work and have 15 songs to show you that. Actually, I don't really know what it's about because I can't understand a single syllable that this guy is shouting over top of this music, but whatever it is, I like it. This thing is 15 tracks, but it only clocks in at like 12 minutes from front to back. These songs are all usually under a minute. There are like 3 songs that break the minute mark, and then the rest of them range from 50, 55 seconds all the way down to like 21 seconds is the shortest song, I think. These guys basically make slightly post-hardcore inspired indie rock tracks that are all just little bite-sized snippets of a song. They usually go like a little intro, one verse, one short chorus, and then they're done. And I didn't really realize how much I wanted an album of 30-second aggressive indie rock tracks until I had it. These guys don't really take themselves too seriously. They do a lot of little kind of silly musical detours within these just incredibly short tracks. And there's some kind of mediocre tracks and there's some really good tracks, but they're all so short that it doesn't really matter. They all just kind of string together into a little, like, if you got 15 minutes to kill, you can just give this whole little album a listen, and it's a decent time. The guitars are fairly clean, but they have just a little bit of grit on them. The vocals are kind of buried in the mix. They're kind of distant and very hard to understand. There's occasional screaming that I like a lot, actually, but it's not really the forefront of the album. The drums are tight and aggressive. The songs move very quickly. I mean, they have to. They're like 45 seconds long. And, I don't really have too many complaints to make. It's just a fun listen. And I've never really heard this sound in this kind of strange, incredibly short context. I don't really know how much kind of staying power they have as a band. Like, I don't know if I want another album of this, but I'm having fun with it. I've been listening to it. I put it just on my MP3 player and just kind of shuffled in there, and it's fun to just be listening through songs, and occasionally some 30 seconds fast kind of post-hardcore inspired indie rock song comes on, and I'm just like, oh, that was interesting. They're like little intermissions. But yeah, check these EPs out. Links in the description. Also in the description, link to the new Emerald 4 album. Emerald 4 has a new album out on Tanuki Records, and it's available on Bandcamp for free. So I didn't review it because I figured it's free. You can just listen to it, so I'm going to recommend it to you. Quick synopsis of their sound. They kind of sound like typical indie pop, Japanese indie pop specifically, along the lines of Batman Winks or maybe some Boy's Age or maybe some Lady Flash. But they're kind of combined with these psychedelic pop electronic soundscapes that remind me a lot of like Animal Collective, and there's maybe even a little bit of like vaporwave influence in there as well. It's definitely a quality album and worth checking out. Once again, links in the description to all of this. That's me. New EP wrap up. Maybe in a few months I'll have another one. Check these all out. They're at least decent. Peace.